are a lean and mean administrative school district. For those people who are listening, saying this is a random selection, and I will jump forward in my speech and just say, picking the administrator who has probably the highest touch between students and staff is really not the best decision. This position functions like a managing director of a company, and in this case it happens to be a school. It does have the most interaction between all the departments, in this case the teachers and the students, and it has direct control. It directs and controls the department's operations and gives strategic guidance and directions to the members to ensure that the company or school achieves its missions and objectives. So what are those missions and objectives? But after 13 years of schooling and preparation for college, the guidance department, and specifically the director of guidance, helps to ensure that the students find their just right schools, get the paperwork, gets where it needs to be. For those who have been through the college process with their children, there is no magic wand. It takes hours, months, years of planning, course selection, poring over the schools, meeting the college admissions reps, taking the advice of the guidance counselors, and trusting that they know the student and the right fit. The one director in the department is there for each one of them. The director of guidance is the managing director, the head coach, overseeing all the moving parts and interceding, changing plays when necessary, and handling all the loose ends when everyone, counselors, students, and office staff, are all going in 100 directions at once. And that happens when college applications and the most critical part of this whole process are going out. While looking at the role and responsibilities handled by this high-touch position, we see that potentially every student coming through Somers High School has the likelihood of interaction with the director of guidance. And eliminating this position is the equivalent of a game-ending fumble. We prep the kids, but without the position coach, the director, they won't get where they need to be. To clarify to all, it is our understanding that the director of guidance currently, and this was a list that we discussed, so if I have a couple things wrong, currently the director supervises guidance counselors, nurses, social workers, and all K-12. Plans professional development, creates updates to K-12 guidance curriculum plan for the year, has a caseload of about 35 students who need to be split among their 5 remaining counselors, attends networking meetings with other departments of guidance through BOCES to talk about trends, college application process, and turnkeys the information to other counselors, conducts all K-12 guidance observations and evaluations, oversees secretarial staff who handle graduation, student transcripts, college applications, SAT, ACT, PSAT, NAVIOMs, planning and implementation of parent programs, organizing and submitting guidance K-12 budget, stays abreast of all New York State regulations, guidance newsletter, and assists with students not on our caseload when the problems arise. I need more water. Without this position, another administrator in place will have to pick up the supervision of all counselors, and most have no specific guidance training. K-12 guidance curriculum will likely suffer without a department of guidance, as no one with the experience is overseeing this work. Observations and evaluations would have to be done by administration who are not trained in guidance, and it goes without saying that the students will be the most directly affected if the director of guidance position is eliminated, especially those whose caseload is handled by the director of guidance and who likely have a reason for being in the director of guidance caseload. My next part of my speech is actually a study. I'm not going to go into it. It's the role of a school counselor versus the director of guidance. The role of the school counselor is with the student, the director of guidance is with the student as it applies to that counselor. I have it available if anybody wants to read it. It's with these thoughts in mind, I would ask that a reevaluation of the staff and program budgets be considered. Is there an opportunity to eliminate duplication in some of the non-classroom administrative and staff positions? Are there other administrative positions that have little to no student contact? Could this position be replaced by a consultant with no benefits and no extra costs? While the enrollments are declining, the incoming 9th grade through 11th grade are the bubble. Dr. Blanche gave us the numbers, but there is a large movement coming through the school. Is now the right time to eliminate this critical position? Are there programs in place that could be incorporated into a classroom setting instead of a special lab environment? While additional support needs to be offered, perhaps this could be a teacher initiative. I know we've discussed the IB program. I don't understand it fully. I think there are probably costs associated with it. Is this the right time to be fully launching it, that as it will not impact the majority of the high school students? I was told 75, when they come through the whole program, would graduate with an IB diploma. Could that be postponed until the budget is available to launch it successfully and not to the detriment of other budgetary needs? And I would ask about the use of the fund balance while we are experiencing such a low CPI. I leave you with these thoughts. There are places to trim back and find a way to keep the one most valuable position in the district. We've come so far with our college-bound students. Let's not falter at the 10-yard line.
Good evening. My name is Johanna Moran. I have two children in the district, one in 10th grade and one in 6th grade. I come to you with a very unique perspective because I'm also a high school guidance counselor for over 20 years in the local district. And I have been through this before. I started my career with the director of guidance. About 10 years ago, they cut the position, and we were left with an assistant principal to oversee our department who really had no guidance experience. So I tell you that it took the district about 3 years to realize that they made a mistake. And a person was hired now to oversee the guidance department who understands the position. The complexities of being a guidance counselor is so much more than college admissions, as some of the students have stated today. We do personal counseling, we do social emotional counseling, we do crisis counseling. And we really need someone to lead the department that understands the job, that does the job, that has connections to our professional community. It is not a job or a role that can be distributed among administrators or even to other guidance counselors. It is a role that's unique and really needs to be done by someone who is skilled in that area. I can tell you that being part of the professional community for almost 25 years, Dr. Hardy is very well known. We are very lucky to have her in this district, and I know that you have a very difficult decision ahead of you. I know you have difficult choices to make, but I don't understand why a position that impacts every student in the entire district, from kindergarten all the way to high school, out-of-district students. She touches the lives of every single student. If her position is eliminated, it is going to impact the students, the families, the teachers, the administrators, everybody in the district. And I urge you to look at different options and please save her position. Thank you.
My name is Jackie Hickey. I have 3 kids. One daughter is a junior in college at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. I have a senior at the high school, and I have my son is a freshman. There's a quote that I particularly like by Dr. Martin Luther King, and it's, "The function of an education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of a true education." Dr. Hardy is intelligent, her character is amazing, and to lose her would just be an incredible loss to the district. I understand that you need to make cuts. Cuts are difficult. Cuts aren't easy. They're people. It hurts. But as a parent, what bothers me the most out of all of this is the series of events, to be very frank. You know, I'm sitting home getting ready for Christmas, and I hear posts on Facebook that Dr. Hardy's position has been eliminated. Facebook page blows up. The Somers moms are going crazy. It was like, you know, you didn't know what to believe, right? So, you know, a bunch of us got together January 11th, and we started talking about it, the moms, about, you know, oh, well, maybe there could be other ways of doing it. Maybe, you know, maybe there's other ways to find the cuts. And very graciously, Dr. Blanche decided to meet with us on the 13th of January, and He said that the position was under consideration for being cut, that nothing was being done about it, it wasn't a done deal, and there was still a possibility to keep the position and perhaps find the cuts elsewhere. And during the conversation, one of the moms asked a question that stuck in my head, and the question was, well, did you discuss this with the board privately? And he said, absolutely not, I'm not allowed to do that, I can't do that, and that, for whatever reason, I don't know, I guess I'm crazy, but it stuck in my head. Then, I was really, really upset, and I made an appointment to speak with Dr. Hardy for a few reasons, to talk about my kids, but the majority of the conversation was talking about her and what happened. And she told me that she was brought in and she was told that her position was eliminated and that it was going to be cut from the budget and that she wouldn't have a job next year. And for whatever reason, that conversation that we had on the 13th, where did you discuss anything privately, came back to my head, and I thought, well, if you're not allowed to discuss anything privately with the board, are you allowed to tell somebody that their position is cut? And I went online, and I went to our board of, our somerschools.org, and I searched, and I searched, and I searched, and I tried to find the policies and procedures on how you go about doing this, and I couldn't find it. So, again, it stuck in my mind, and it can't leave me, the fact that she was told, and I said, well, what did you do after your position was cut? And she said, well, then I told the people that was under me that my position was cut. Now, if her position wasn't cut, or wasn't gonna be cut, who would tell the people under them that their position was cut if it wasn't? It doesn't make any sense. And my question for the board is, quite frankly, the fact that she was told that her job was gonna be removed from the budget, but it was not presented publicly to the Board of Education until now, does that constitute any kind of violation? Is a lack of, were the procedures followed properly? Was there a lack of process?
To the board, if that's all right. I can't speak about personal matters with other personnel. That's not, if those folks want to speak, what they want to speak about, that's fine. No conversation was had with me. No conversation was asked about what my conversation was. Again, I do need to let the board know, and I will let the board know, there's going to be reductions coming forward. We'll have a conversation at the next Board of Education meeting. I am not at liberty to go ahead and have a conversation of a personal nature out in public. I am not able to do that. So there was no policy broken, as you mentioned, Jackie, that you did not find anything directly in there. You and I have had multiple conversations. Again, I will talk to staff, I will talk to members, if this board is going to talk about the potential position cut. We will have that conversation. But as far as myself, meeting with another person, I'm not going to have that conversation. I am in violation, actually, of statute, of law, of educational practice, to talk about that. If that employee so chooses to have a conversation with Jackie, that's their choice. I can't do that.
Jackie Hickey again. That's fine, but my question was for the board, if there was a violation or a lack of process, not for you to answer, but for the board.
I
think it's safe to say that this is our public meeting to have these discussions, and what we're doing now is just getting options. So my understanding is nothing's a done deal. That's why we're exploring options. And I, as a board member, if the position is eliminated, obviously, we don't want a vacuum. We don't want a power vacuum. We don't want a situation where our children's needs are not being met. There has to be a plan in place. Something has to be done. We have to make tough decisions, but we have to have a plan going forward. There may be other options. Maybe that position won't be eliminated. But if it is, we have to know how the functions are going to continue and how they can even maybe improve. How we can use it as an opportunity to improve the way our guidance department works. That's the things I'm interested in if we have to go that way. And this is just the beginning of the conversation.
And I would just, in terms of process, my understanding of the process, as we tried to explain, is that Dr. Blanche we go through a budget process every year. Okay, this is the first public time where we're seeing specific ways that we have been asked to consider, to meet the budget